I'd like to show you this step stool I made back in 2006. It's not my own design, and I'll put a link in the description to the plans I used all those years ago, in case you want to build it yourself. I made this from pine, and it's my first attempt at cutting dovetails. The date is significant because back in 2006 I had received no formal training in cutting dovetail joints like this. To give you an idea of my background, in 2003 I joined the Carpentry Joinery course in Bristol for 3 years. We did no dovetailing then. We did the occasional lap dovetail like the joints you see on the stretcher rails and braces here. Simple enough. So I did 3 years of carpentry till 2006. I then worked for a year, 2 different companies. Had some kind of negative experiences, to be honest, that kind of put me off working in the building trade, because in the UK at least, carpenters are generally seen as builders, I would say. Builders working with wood. Whereas the impression I get from across the Atlantic is that a carpenter might be someone who can build furniture, for example, whereas over here we'd say a furniture maker is also a cabinet maker. It wasn't until 2007 when I went back to college and enrolled on a furniture making course, again in Bristol. That lasted for 3 full years, and towards the end of the first year we were making small cabinets basically. It was our final piece for the year, and we did a lot of work beforehand practicing our dovetail joints. So we did through dovetails, lap dovetails, single lap dovetails, and we even did secret mitered dovetails, which are quite extreme. So my joints you can see here were all hand cut using a very limited set of tools. I'd imagine I used a marking gauge to mark the shoulder lines of each of the tails and pins. Since then I've learned that you can use a cutting gauge to get a better result, a much cleaner line. My dovetail saw would have been a gent saw, which is similar in its size of the blade, but the handle is parallel and long to the in relation to the blade itself. So it's not as ergonomic as a traditional dovetail or tenon saw. And I had a small variety of cheap chisels, probably made by Irwin or Record, one of the cheap ones. And the important thing is I got the job done without any sort of training. It was a big test and a challenge for me. It must have taken a considerable amount of time. And even though I was working with pine, which is a very soft wood of course, the results are quite good for my first attempt. One of the reasons for making this video was because I recently had to make a repair on this stool. Basically what had happened was one of the joints here, it's actually the other side, this joint down here had failed basically. And I noticed when I was stepping on it, it was kind of flex and I could feel my weight gravitating towards the floor. So to make the repair, I basically forced the joint apart with a spreader clamp, inserted fresh glue and re-clamped it again overnight. If I hadn't lost the footage for this repair, I would show it to you now, but somehow I've lost it between my laptop dying and buying a new PC. Anyway, the stool now is holding up very well a few months later. You've probably seen it in other videos. I've used it for lots of DIY repairs and jobs around the home, reaching high places, that kind of thing. Now, I used a tung oil finish on this one, which I do not recommend because, for obvious reasons, it turns your wood very orange, which is not ideal in my opinion. If you look on the reverse of this stool, on the underside, you'll find some of the pine here remains to be very yellow, which is what it was when I first made this piece 12 years ago. Because over time, all timbers will darken with age. It's inevitable really, you can't really slow that down, regardless of what finish you use, unless you paint it black of course. If I was to make this stool again, I think I would reduce these shaker style curves because I don't think they're entirely necessary, and of course it does weaken the overall structure, which may also account for why this joint failed. So you still have the 4 points of contact, your 4 feet on the ground, but there'll be less of a strain on the material. Essentially it's made up from 3 segments like this, 3 reverse U-shaped segments, dovetails in each corner, a lap dovetail for the bracing, and then Each of the 3 sides is biscuit jointed together with glue. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, found it useful. I do appreciate your support long term with my channel. On the workshop front, I'm still looking officially. My challenge is finding something I can use part-time, because a lot of landlords want to charge a lot of money for full-time use. They don't want you there at the weekend and that kind of thing, in my experience anyway. So I am still looking. I'm also considering for this year renting a bench space somewhere, possibly, depending on where it tends to be in the area, because I'm also looking at moving home. I'm only renting in this place, as you probably know, but I've been here over 4 years now. I've endured 5 winters, this being the coldest one so far, and I'm looking to move on, to be honest. Somewhere new, somewhere with decent heating, I hope. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.